Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to my history with console gaming. Much like the other video I did, my history with PC gaming, this is going to be a talking head video, so if you don't want to watch the gameplay or see my ugly face, feel free to minimize the video just to listen to the audio as I tell you guys about my history with console gaming. This video is going to be very fucking long. I'm probably going to have to do some jump cuts maybe here and there. I'll probably run out of breath. But that's okay. This is very raw. This is going to be talking, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that. But it's going to be long, like I said, so grab some fucking snacks or some popcorn, chicken, whatever the hell you want. Get a drink, and just sit back and enjoy the video. Maybe play a game while you listen and whatnot. But before we get into anything, I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Ryan, who was inspired by my PC gaming history video to make his own video about his history with gaming. So I'll leave a link down to that video below in the description. And Ryan, if you're watching this, we need to fucking catch up, man. It's been a while. Hit me up on Discord or Steam or anything. Probably better if you hit me up on Discord. I'm a little more active on that. I think I actually even inspired my cousin Sean to make his own video as well. So if that comes out, I'll link that below in the description as well. And you can also find a link to the previous video, my history with PC gaming, there as well. So now that I'm out of breath and I'm probably going to die because it's also 3 in the morning when I'm filming this, we're going to get into this one. But before I get into it, I want to mention one more thing. There most likely will not be music this time. Music, I think, was a little distracting in the last video. No one's home. It's 3 in the morning. There shouldn't be any background noise. If there is, I need to check it out because that means there's probably someone breaking in my house. But now that that's all out of the way, let's get this video started. Alright guys, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about. As I said in the last video, I was born in 1997, and I believe I started gaming around the year 2001. My first experience with console gaming was actually the Sega Dreamcast. I don't have too many memories about it, but one memory I have is my dad walking into our house holding a Sega Dreamcast in a plastic bag. He had a couple controllers and he had some games as well. And I remember kind of watching him play Resident Evil. I think it was Resident Evil Code Veronica X. That was a game that my dad played at the time. And I remember wanting to play that game as well, but unfortunately it was rated M, and my dad said I wasn't allowed to play it. But the first game I played on the Sega Dreamcast was a game called Fighting Force 2. I should have grabbed it. I actually have a copy of it on the PlayStation 1. The game got terrible reviews, but I had a ton of fun with it. It's my first video game. I have very good memories with that game as well, especially with the Sega Dreamcast, man. Playing games like shit, House of the Dead, fucking that Centipede game. I'll try to put some pictures up, man. The Sega Dreamcast, fuck that console. I have one. I found my Sega Dreamcast, the one that I'm talking about. It's in my closet right now. Maybe I'll try to take some pictures of it, put it up as well. It's in rough shape, but I need to get that thing hooked up again, man, so I can play some fucking games from my childhood. But that was my first gaming console. My dad brought it home, had Fighting Force 2, and that was the first game that I played. But around this time, I spent more of my time playing the Game Boy Advance. I believe I got the Game Boy Advance around the release, and one of the games I had for it was Spider-Man, based on the original movie Spider-Man, which I fucking love those movies. I played the shit out of that game on my Game Boy. My dad would always tell me, you know, nowadays, he would tell me that I would sit in the back of the fucking car with the little Game Boy Advance like light, which I remember, and just fucking play games on car ride. I wouldn't make a noise. I was the quietest child there ever was. I just played my fucking video games and mind my own business, and it was amazing. I played a shit ton of Spider-Man on that Game Boy. It's probably some other games like I think Mario as well and stuff like that. But moving forward a little bit, I got my own PlayStation 2 around the year 2001 or 2002. It's roughly around there. It's hard to remember, obviously. It's so long ago. But basically, as a kid, you know, I had my Game Boy. We had the Dreamcast and whatnot. But I would go to my grandparents' house. My uncle, who was very young, he's probably in high school at the time because my mom had me when she was 20. So my uncle was probably like 16 or something. It's hard to remember. He had a PlayStation 1. And I remember before the PS2 came out, I would go over there, you know, as a little kid, you know, very young even, and I'd play games on his fucking PlayStation 1. One of them was a 8TV game. I was big into 8TVs when I was a kid, you know, live in Texas, you know, standard thing, I guess. And we would play a lot of games. I'd play a lot of games on that PlayStation 1. One of them was some kind of like roller skating game. I remember that. Playing a racing game that had like a Galaga menu screen. But eventually got a PlayStation 2. I remember playing that for the first time and being kind of confused, you know, because it was a lot different from the PlayStation 1. It looked a lot different, you know. The things looked more realistic. It wasn't as pixelated. And I was amazed by the PS2, the original fat one. And I remember him walking into the kitchen. I actually remember walking into the kitchen and seeing my uncle talk to my mother and my father about the PlayStation 2. And then I don't remember exactly when, around that same time, they bought me my own PlayStation 2 with 2 games, Jak and Daxter and ATV Off-Road Fury, which those are my first 2 PlayStation 2 games. That's how I got really big into Jak and Daxter as well. Love those games. But moving on a little bit, not too much more to mention there. I'll mention some more stuff about my uncle in a minute. But throughout the years, like 2002, 2005, I didn't have an Xbox or GameCube. I only had a PlayStation 2. So my cousins, their dad was really big into gaming. He still is. I remember during the whole generation of the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube, he had every console. I remember going over there and playing a bunch of games that I never really got to experience, you know, that because I didn't have the consoles. One of them was Halo. I remember seeing Halo for the first time, and I didn't have an Xbox, and I was also a little kid, and I remember the graphics just looking so fucking realistic, and now you go back, you play Halo 1, you're like, what the fuck is that? But we played games like Halo, and it was amazing, because me and my cousins would, you know, they link up the Xbox using System Link, and we would play against the parents. It was a ton of fucking fun. We'd make food. It was amazing. I got to see a lot of fucking games and experience a lot of games that way, including Halo 2, which was the first game I ever got to play online, which was amazing. And even though I did play a lot of PS2 games during this time period, because of them, I got to experience games like Halo, Star Wars Public Commando, Midnight Club 3, which I purchased soon, you know, or after that on PlayStation 2, and Super Smash Bros. And around this time, I also received a Game Boy Advance SP as well, which that becomes a little more relevant later on. But I remember seeing, you know, like Star Wars Republic Commando on the Xbox, and I remember the game looked so brutal to me as a kid, like fucking tearing through the super you know, the battle droids and all that shit. And I picked it up on PC back in 2013. I was like, what the fuck, this looks nothing like I remember it. So it's just amazing thinking back to that, what I thought of those games when I saw them for the first time. Another console I also played during this time was a Nintendo 64, because they also had one of those. I got to experience games like GoldenEye and fucking Conker's Bad Fur Day, you know, well after they released, of course, but I got to still experience them, which was super amazing. But speaking, let me just go back to my uncle. I said I'd mention him again. He would let me play a lot of games I wasn't supposed to play at. My mom didn't really know about. I got to experience Grand Theft Auto. He'd let me play it as a kid, as well as like games like Hitman as well. And I also remember my fucking grandma breaking his PlayStation 1. She plugged it in and it started smoking, so that wasn't supposed to happen. She broke his PlayStation 1, I'm pretty sure, which is pretty funny. But moving on, speaking of Star Wars, I loved Star Wars as a kid. My dad loved it when he was a kid. He got me into it. That's when all the prequel movies were coming out. And one of my best gaming memories was getting the original Star Wars Battlefront. I'm pretty fucking sure I got some like limited edition of it at the time. I'll try to find pictures of it. It came with the statue of Luke Skywalker. I fucking loved the original Star Wars Battlefront, man. I would play that shit all the time. I had some friends that lived next door to me that were really big gamers as well, and they would come over. We'd play Star Wars Battlefront. I'd go over to their house and we'd play like Star Wars Battlefront, like fucking monster truck games and shit like that. It was amazing. I loved that game. And the sequel to Star Wars Battlefront 2 will lead us into the next topic. I heard about the sequel to Star Wars Battlefront 2 because of one place that basically made my childhood Blockbuster. This place allowed me to play so many games that I would have never known about, because I didn't have internet until I got into middle school. So I didn't have any access to the internet, and I kind of missed that, you know? Whenever you saw a game, you didn't know shit about it. You just picked it up and went to play. You didn't know what the fuck you're playing. I didn't know what the fuck I was playing. And sadly now with the internet and being connected to it all the time, you know, it's not the same as it used to be. But Blockbuster, man, that place made my fucking childhood. I remember almost every Friday, I would get to rent a game for the weekend. And it was even still open when I got a PS3, which I did. That's how I got to play a lot of games on the PS3 as well, which I'll talk about later. And it was just amazing because I didn't have internet until middle school. But we're going to get back to Blockbuster as well, because before we get to the 7th generation of consoles, we need to talk about Pokemon, because Pokemon was also another big thing as well. So this is console gaming. I'm going to throw some of the handheld gaming stuff in here. I already kind of have, because I don't want to make a separate video just about handheld gaming. That'd be kind of pointless, honestly, in my opinion. Sorry for the jump cuts, man. My fucking acid reflex, dude. It's fucking killing me right now. But around the years 2006, 2007, my parents got divorced, which, you know, as a kid, it was rough. But, you know, my mother eventually, I keep pronouncing words very strangely. I do apologize for that. But eventually, you know, my mom started, you know, dating this guy. And my stepbrother, who's my stepbrother now, but at the time he wasn't, he introduced me to the world of Pokemon. He showed me Pokemon Emerald for the first time. I was hooked on Pokemon at that point. I got my first Pokemon game, Ruby, around the same time as that, probably like 2006, 2007. I also had a PSP. I thought I would throw that in there as well, because that's kind of a little more relevant, but it kind of fits the time frame. I remember getting super into Pokemon though, man, getting really into it. Got Pokemon Fire Red in the fucking box too. I don't have that cartridge anymore. Fucking sucks. As a reward for getting good grades one time. And during my Pokemon craze, I like to call it, I actually bonded with one of my cousins who, funnily enough, is the brother of Sean, because he loved Pokemon as well. And his mother, Sean's mother, did something for me that she did not need to do. It was amazing that she did this for me. Definitely, I hope I fucking thanked her. Fucking looking back at Kid Colton, I hope I fucking thanked her for it, because she ended up buying me after seeing me, because I guess they had a DS and I was amazed by it or something or whatever. She bought me a DS Lite, which I eventually got Pokemon Diamond for. And thanks to her, honestly, thanks to Sean's mother, she's probably the reason why I have the friends that I do now, because if it wasn't for Pokemon, I wouldn't have met a lot of these friends that I met in middle school. Because a lot of the friends that I met in middle school played Pokemon as well, like Ryan. He mentioned that in his video. My friend Kieran played Pokemon. My friend Chris played Pokemon. And the old buddy of mine, Steven, who I'm not really friends with anymore, also played Pokemon. And if she wouldn't have gotten me a DS, I probably would have never got to continue playing the Pokemon games, like with Diamond and Heart Gold and stuff like that. So thanks to her, honestly, she's probably the reason I have the friends I do today. And you know, Pokemon Heart Gold was one of the games that came out later for the DS, and that's how, you know, all my friends, we had the games, we played the shit out of them together, and it was amazing. I don't want to spend too much time on the fucking Pokemon thing though, because this is mainly about console gaming. But if it wasn't for Sean's mother, I know I'm saying it like 50 times, I probably wouldn't be, or wouldn't have the friends that I have now, which is pretty interesting to think about. But moving on, around 2008, for my birthday, my dad bought me a PlayStation 3. I also remember at the same cousin's house, who, you know, my cousin's dad had every fucking console ever, because he would just be fucking really into gaming. I remember seeing the PS3 for the first time, being really amazed by it. And my dad ended up buying me a PlayStation 3 around 2008. So I didn't join, you know, the 7th generation of consoles, I believe. Hopefully I got that right. I didn't join it like right away with the 360 in 2005 or the PS3 in 2006. I got it around 2008. He bought me one of the fat models. Unfortunately, it wasn't one that played PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 2 games, because he couldn't afford any games for it. You know, I understand, you know, obviously I'm not an asshole, at least I hope I'm not. But he thought I could play PS2 games, so he thought I could play some PS2 games on it, and then eventually he'll give me some games for it. It couldn't. It was one of the fat models that didn't. But eventually I got MotorStorm Pacific Rift as my first game, and even though I only had a 480p TV at the time, I was amazed by the graphics. It was such a transition going from PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 3. It was an amazing transition, which, as I'll talk about later, the going from 7th to 8th generation consoles didn't really have the same effect. It wasn't a crazy jump, you know what I mean? But Blockbuster, we'll get back to Blockbuster here. Blockbuster is how I got to experience a lot of great games before we got internet. at my mother's because I remember going in Blockbuster and seeing a game called Fallout 3. That's how I got into Fallout. I saw Fallout 3, I picked it up, I was like, what the fuck is this? I went home, I played it, and it was pretty fucking awesome. And even games like Call of Duty, I didn't have internet. Call of Duty 4 was taking over the world with its internet. Meanwhile, I had no fucking idea about it. The only thing I knew Call of Duty 4 had was the single player, and I fucking loved playing through the single player as well as Call of Duty World at War. I remember it was so amazing. It's just amazing thinking back to when I didn't have internet because I didn't know about all these things in these games. So for example, the big example of this is Call of Duty World at War. You beat the campaign and you go into the Nazi zombies mode. I had no fucking idea that was a mode. I didn't have internet. I didn't know. So to go from beating the campaign and then it transitions into this creepy Nazi zombies and me being fucking clueless as what's to happen. It was amazing experiencing that. And unfortunately, now that we have internet, I probably will never have that kind of shit happen because I'll pretty much know everything about the game before it comes out. But that was amazing. Blockbuster unfortunately shut down a few years after that, which is unfortunate because it was a great way as a kid that I got games. I'd probably even still use it today. Shit, if it was still around, better than fucking buying games for $60 that you might not like, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't have HDMI either, so I had 480p, but graphics, you know, still blew my mind. But also around this time, I was also introduced to Metal Gear. Funnily enough, by the same fucking cousins that have the dad that plays a lot of fucking video games and has every console. Before I get into that though, I didn't write this down, but I want to mention it. My cousin's dad, the fucking gamer dude, is the reason I have my username today. We took my PS3 over there and my dad asked him to help set it up and stuff like that, and he set up an online profile for me, and they wanted to know what I wanted to do for my username, and I was a fucking kid, so I wanted Colt 45 because my name's Colton and 45 is a number and fucking it's a gun and it's cool, right? Because I was a kid, and then that was taken, so my dad suggested Colt 44 because 44 is my dad and my favorite number. And then I'm not sure if it was my dad or my cousin, but one of them suggested that we just do my first name, the initial of my last name, and then 45. And well, if you look at my channel name, it's stuck all these years. So that's the story of my username. It came from the console gaming, which is pretty fucking cool. But as I was saying, I was introduced to Metal Gear by one of my cousins who was really big into the series at the time. Unfortunately, he's not a gamer anymore. But he introduced me to Metal Gear Solid 3. And I remember my first experience with Metal Gear Solid 3. It was unlike any game I had ever played. I'd never played a game like it before. I remember seeing it was Metal Gear Solid 3, so it was Naked Snake or Big Boss. Coming out, it was the beginning of the game. The Ocelot unit came out when he had Sokolov. And there was this big cutscene of a CQC sequence. Sorry, I can't fucking talk today. It's been 18 minutes. This video's gonna be fucking long. But anyways, I was amazed by it. Eventually I picked up the Essentials collection of Metal Gear Solid, which had 1, 2, and 3. And then I remember also walking out of that room after watching him play that, and then seeing Metal Gear Solid 4 on a big ass screen with HDMI cable, and just being blown away by what was happening on the screen. And eventually I got Metal Gear Solid 4 as well, and it just became my favorite gaming franchise of all time. I love the games to death. I've beaten the games countless times. I remember even waking up sometimes before school when I was in like 5th grade, waking up at like 4 in the morning to play fucking Metal Gear Solid 4 before going to school because I was like fucking addicted to it. And to mention the PSP again, because I didn't really get much use out of it. Same with the PS Vita. I didn't even fucking think about putting the PS Vita in here. PSP even got some use with the release of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker in like, I think 2010, I believe. So yeah, man, Metal Gear Solid was a very big gaming milestone for me, and memory as well. Just playing those games. I've played the games countless times. But moving on, this video is going to be long, I'm telling you. Around 2009, my mother brought me an Xbox 360. My parents were divorced, so at my dad's house I had a PS2, the fat PS2, and then a PS3. And my mom, she got me a slim PS2 some point a while back, and then she brought me an Xbox 360. You know, because, you know, different houses, different consoles. I was going to both houses and whatnot. And I think the first game I got on the 360 was a Naruto game. For some reason I was into Naruto when I was in middle school. I don't around the middle school era. I don't really fucking understand it. I don't know what I was doing. But yeah, this is also before we had internet as well. So when I got that 360, we started getting like Halo. I got back into Halo with this one, and I didn't have internet, so all we could do is basically play. Actually, wait a minute, hold up. We had internet, but my Xbox 360 only had a LAN cable. It was one of the elite models, so it didn't have a wireless adapter. I didn't have money, so I couldn't buy the wireless adapter. So we had internet, I just couldn't play a 360 online. I had to clarify that now that I thought about it. But this console is important because I got to bond a lot with my stepbrothers over this console. We played so much Halo 3 together, so much Black Ops against each other, so much Modern Warfare 2 against each other. I played a lot of other games on this, like Batman Arkham Asylum. I played through that again. I remember I had rented it on PS3, but I got it on the Xbox 360 and beat that. There's probably a bunch of other games I'm forgetting as well. And 2010, I finally got an HDMI cable. So seeing, I think it might have actually been a year later. Actually, I got an HDMI. I can't remember. I think I got HDMI cable, and the first game I played on it was either Metal Gear Solid 4 or another PS3 game, actually. So, as I mentioned, I had a 480p display even at my mother's house. So going from 480p to a 1080p screen, even though it was a like 20 or 19-inch monitor, going from 480p to I guess 720p is probably what it was, blew my mind. I think it was actually Crysis 2 was the first game I played on an HD display, and it blew my fucking mind seeing that, because I was already amazed by the difference between the PS2 and PS3 with seeing MotorStorm for the first time, but seeing Crysis 2 on the PS3, even though it was not the definitive version of the game, seeing that game in an HD format blew my fucking mind. And it was amazing. Unfortunately, though, around going throughout middle school and 2012, there's a lot of crazy memories I can try to think of right now. I remember getting into Brink at one point. I liked the Brink when my friends liked Brink. You'd have the fucking goddamn guide for it, you'd read it. Fallout New Vegas, so many fucking games came out during this time period that were just absolutely amazing. I can't even list them all. I don't even think I could think of them. Pokemon as well. Bunch of stuff happened during this time period, but there's also some embarrassment and some really stupid shit that I did, unfortunately. I got caught in the fucking fanboy war. Keep in mind, I was a child. As a child, you don't think when you do shit. You act like an idiot, and that was me. I was a fucking idiot as a kid, and I got really into the fanboy war, and I went on both sides. I was like an Xbox fanboy, and I was a PlayStation fanboy. It went back and forth. I'm not gonna get too much into detail about it because it's very embarrassing. It pisses me off to think about it. But what I'll say is I, unfortunately, because of that, do not own my original 360 or my original PlayStation 3 anymore, which fucking sucks because I wish I still had both of those consoles. But what happened. Throughout that time, like I said, basically what I mean by that is, you know, I would be an Xbox fanboy and I would have an Xbox, and there's more to it, but I don't want to get too much into detail with it. But throughout that time, it did lead to playing some amazing games with friends, like I said. I remember my friend Chris, me and him played the shit out of Halo Reach. I had gotten an Xbox 360 that had Wi-Fi. Not going to go into detail about how I got it or why I got it, but I'm just going to say I got a 360 with Wi-Fi, so we played a lot of fucking Halo Reach, Halo 4 when it came out, and we just played a lot of fucking games, man. I remember friends coming over for my birthdays, and, you know, we fucking sit in my room, we would fucking play, like, Modern Warfare 2 and shit, and it was just amazing. A lot of amazing memories going back to the 7th generation of consoles. But that's pretty much all I can talk about with the 7th generation of consoles. Let's move forward a bit to 2013. I was going into high school at this time. I think I was actually going to my sophomore year of high school. I made my YouTube channel, this one. I made it as a PlayStation channel, basically, called the PlayStation Fan 45. So not only did PC gaming kind of get started with the channel, because I was playing Minecraft, which was a PC game, but also, it sucks, but being a PlayStation fanboy at the time kind of made me create this channel. Originally, this channel was to be about talking about PlayStation shit, and obviously, I grew out of being a fucking child, I guess. And I was just a kid after all. I wrote that in my notes here. I was just a kid after all, being fucking retarded. But you know, 2013 came to release of the 8th generation of consoles, PS4, Xbox One, and, well, the Wii U, I think, happened in 2012, but didn't own one of those. But I got a PS4 for Christmas, and it's weird to think about it, because it really wasn't the same. By this point, I was playing some games on PC. I'd had access to the internet. Oh, shit, wait a minute, we need to back up a bit here. We need to back up a bit here, because, I want to talk about my my mother in a story with online gaming. I remember, man, we got internet and I had my PS3 had Wi-Fi. My Xbox didn't, so I got COD 4 on the PS3 again. After renting it, I bought it, and I remember playing online for the first time. And even though it lagged, and I had like some weird, there was like a hacker in there, I think, fucking shooting rockets and or shooting grenade launchers everywhere. My mom got so mad that we were playing online. She was like, "You're gonna meet strangers," and yada yada yada. And well, here we are in 2018. I play games online almost every day, and I'm talking in a video that's going to be published online. Pretty crazy, but she got really mad about that. But anyways, going back, you know, 2013 release of the 8th generation of consoles, and I was still more into consoles at this point than I am now, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I didn't have a PC that really could play a lot of games, so I was excited for the new consoles. You know, they revealed the PS4 and they revealed the Xbox One. The Xbox One's reveal was a shitstorm, if you remember. They had a lot of always online policies and really anti-consumer policies, like blocking used games, all this shit, and kind of forcing the Xbox One as like an entertainment hub, almost kind of like what the PS3 and Sony did back in 2006. It was kind of like a flip-flop this 8th generation, you know. Instead of Xbox being on top, it became Sony. But anyways, I was really excited for the PlayStation 4, ended up getting the PlayStation 4, and you know, I like the PlayStation 4. I got it for Christmas, and I was amazed by it. I guess I really can't use the word amazed, because it wasn't like how it was in 2008 when I got my PS3. The jump was not crazy enough, you know what I mean, to me. But you know, I did, you know, like the PS4, and I started playing games on it. I eventually got an Xbox One. But as I said, by the time the 8th generation came out, I was really starting to get into PC gaming. I was seeing videos of people playing on PCs and just being amazed by everything to do with PCs and the way games play on them and whatnot. So almost 17 years after I started gaming, my consoles mainly get used for exclusives now. Whenever the next generation comes, though, I'll probably still buy a PlayStation and Nintendo console for exclusives. Xbox exclusives will be coming to PCs, so there probably isn't a point to getting in an Xbox console. But to end this, I'm not going to end the video just yet, but this is the end of my notes, basically. Console gaming, just like PC gaming, has made a lot of impacts on me. If it wasn't for console and handheld gaming, I wouldn't be the person I am today, because gaming has shaped who I am. My life revolves around not only gaming, but technology. If it wasn't for gaming, I would have never been led to computers, probably like I am today. I love dealing with technology and computers. If it wasn't for gaming, if it wasn't for console gaming, I would never have discovered that passion that I have now for technology and computers. And just gaming in general, because it's such an amazing and sometimes frustrating hobby to have. I love gaming. I love technologies and computers, and it's really has made me who I am today. I wouldn't change that for anything. I like who I am. I might be a fucking nerd, but you know, hey, I can play video games, and that's fucking cool. And yeah, that's pretty much my history with console gaming. Quite a long video, I know. I'm gonna have to record a long ass gameplay for this one. That is for sure. But I think I hit pretty much every point that I wanted to in this video regarding console gaming. But like I said, you know, if it wasn't for gaming, I wouldn't be who I am today, which is pretty crazy. So that is pretty much going to be it for this video. Going on about 30 minutes long. There'll be a few jump cuts that need to be had. But with all that being said, hopefully everything I said made sense. Hopefully I didn't fuck anything up. I think this take went out pretty well. Probably gonna end up using this one. But yeah, as with the other video, if you want to share your history with console gaming or just gaming in general, either make a video about it and send it to me on Twitter or somewhere, I don't know. Be sure to do that. I'd love to hear you guys' experiences with console gaming, PC gaming, or gaming in general. But that's pretty much going to sum this video up. As I said in the beginning of the video, shout out to Ryan FireRush84 for making his video in response to mine. Very good video. Be sure to check it out. I'll be in the description below. It is 3:45 a.m. I need to go to sleep now. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm on my drive. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go for the win. I'ma be the one on top. You're driving the Benz. This is real shit, man. It ain't pretend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm on my drive. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go for the win. I'ma be the